Well, joining me now on the news is a senior advocate of Nigeria, Mohammed Dele Belgore, to speak more on the state of the nation. Good to have you on the news hour this time.
Thank you.
All right,
Good to be here.
so many fronts. Nigeria seems to be facing quite a number of challenges. But let's even start with the very foundational issue, which is the Constitution. A lot of people have said the 1999 Constitution will not take Nigeria anywhere, and there have been so many attempts to review, amend, you can use any adjective that you want to use to tinker with the Constitution. But they all seem to be going nowhere. What do you think is fundamentally wrong with our Constitution as it is now?
Well, in the first place, look at the origins of the Constitution. The Constitution was imposed on the people by the military in the sense that there wasn't broad consultation. So because of that, there's a general lack of faith in the ability of the Constitution to meet the aspirations of the people. So that is the first thing. The second thing is that the Constitution creates a very powerful federal government, and which over the years has now proven to be incapable of truly meeting the aspirations of the people. But the Constitution in itself is not bad. With the right application, I believe that we can still work through it.
You say it's not bad, but you know what they say about, if the foundation is not right, what can you actually put on that? As the ground norm by which governance is carried out, don't you think if you have a faulty foundation, whatever you build on it, may not stand the test of time? But let's even look at the issue of true federalism, restructuring, and all whatnot that people talk about. What kind of restructuring, if you subscribe to those who are calling for need for restructuring, what kind of restructuring would you subscribe to?
Well, restructuring means different things to different people. Mm-hmm. Some people talk about regionalism. For me, the moment you regionalize, you are merely creating further divisions. So you now start creating divisions within divisions, which is the problem we already have now. There are divisions within the federal entity. So you are just localizing that division. What I think really should happen is that let's look at the Constitution itself. Devolve more power to the states. And not just devolve power, devolve resources. The federal allocation formula should be reworked so that the bulk of the revenue is in the states, because really the states are where the people are. Mm-hmm. Then you can deal with issues that are in contention, things like regional state police, autonomy of states to decide on issues of education, agriculture, and so on and so forth. If you then address those, perhaps the agitation for restructuring may actually reduce, because deep down, the agitation for restructuring is because we have not really had a federal government in which people truly feel they can subscribe to.
Do you believe then that devolution of powers would maybe check the ethnic tensions and religious, conflict that seem to be cropping up in most every part of the country?
I truly believe that. I truly believe devolution will do it. One, because I think the federal structure, Nigeria, is way too complex. It's way too complex, way too diverse for administration to be run in Abuja, and then you have trickle down. If you devolve power, and it's no point, like I say, it's no point devolving power. If you devolve power and give the states the resources and the capability, you're talking about ethnic conflicts and things like that. If the governor of the state cannot control the security agencies if they are not accountable to him. So that limits his effectiveness. So when I'm talking of devolution, I'm not talking of just a political act in which you change the constitution and devolve it. There are consequences that have to follow it. So real power, bring the power to the people. But this is an agitation that has been going on
quite a
and
while.
on.
Now, with a new government in place, well, this government is just taking off now. It has 4 years to go down the line. What would you think, what would you say are the low-hanging fruits that this government needs to tackle very quickly for things to begin to ease off? You have the vice president who is now in the US to go sell Nigeria to the United States government. What would be your recommendation in such a way that it will help this government take off very well?
Well, my first recommendation would be that we set up a government of national unity. And by this, I don't mean a power-sharing arrangement whereby you say PDP bring us 4 ministers, APC will nominate the rest, Labour Party. No. Genuine national unity in which you bring people from all shades of all political spectrum, all backgrounds, all different competencies. And you're not really necessarily looking at the political party. You see, we do not run a parliamentary...
Is this some kind of national conference?
No, not a national conference, which is why I'm saying you're talking about a low-hanging fruit.
Yes.
I'm saying within the existing constitution, within the powers of the president, okay? In a parliamentary democracy, you invariably pick the people from your party to run the government. But in a presidential system, you are not shackled in that manner. And we've seen this happen in situations of war or in situations of national emergency. In South Africa, between 1994 and 97, they did it when Nelson Mandela came in. And the idea was that you needed a government that will give confidence to the people. Everybody will feel all-inclusive because you're moving from the apartheid era. They did it in Zimbabwe in 2009 after the election with the MDC, in which there was a lot of violence. Okay? Even in the United Kingdom, right now, because the parties cannot agree, they're talking about it for Brexit. I think we're at that juncture in our country right now, in which we distrust each other, whether we like it or not. We may not want to admit it, but the North doesn't trust the South, the Christians are against the Muslims, and so on and so forth. So have a government of national unity which subordinates the national political affiliations to the national interest.
We'll have to leave it there.
Thank you.
Dele Belgore is Senior Advocate of Nigeria. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you very much.